What's up, everybody? Just wanted to remind you to check out the Chill Lover Radio app. You can download it on Apple Podcast and Google Play, and you can listen to streaming music programs and podcasts such as Collateral Cinema or Collateral Gaming. Once again, you can find it on Apple Podcasts or Google Play, so check it out and give Chill Lover Radio some love. And our podcast shout out for this episode is kind of an important one, especially since we're in Pride Month. I want to focus on some LGBT podcasts out there, and this one is pretty decent. That would be the FriGay the 13th podcast. They are an excellent horror movie podcast. They provide a queer perspective on horror, and it's very, very interesting. So check them out. You can find them wherever you get your podcasts, and you can also find them on Twitter and Facebook. So, yeah, check out FriGay the 13th. And with that, on with the show. I'm Bo Maddox.
I'm Robert Ortegon.
I'm Ashley Chancellor.
I'm Dakota Chancellor.
This is Collateral Cinema. Welcome to Collateral Cinema, the only movie podcast that matters, where we focus on good movies, bad movies, and everything else in between in the world of cinema. We're podcasting straight from somewhere in South Texas, and yes, my friends, we are a 420 friendly podcast. So whatever you have, be it dabs, be it blunts, be it bongs, be it joints, smoke it if you've got it. And ladies and gentlemen, you're going to need smoke or alcohol or something for this movie,
you
right?
need to be under the influence of something.
Yeah, you need to be inebriated, or you just need to be a highfalutin cinema snob or horror movie snob to really get into this movie. But it's a classic. I actually like it. I don't think it's nearly as disturbing as everybody thinks it is, but we're talking about Pascal Laugier. I think that's how you pronounce it. Pascal Laugier's 2008 masterpiece of new French extremity, Martyrs. I showed this to the guys maybe like a couple nights ago. Yeah. What are your initial thoughts, everybody? Like, what do you all think?
This is fucked up.
Yeah, that's honestly, that's the obvious.
Yeah, I think you kind of taped my eyes open for this one.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I pretty much told everybody, you better put your cell phones away for this, because this is, all hands on deck. We got to pay full attention to everything here.
Yeah, and even the details that aren't crucial to the plot, just for context.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't know. I had to watch this on tequila.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unpack whenever you approach this movie or even try to watch it in any sense. I mean, it deals with very heavy thematic elements, which we will get into here in a little while. And Martyrs is a French-Canadian movie, but it's usually lumped into the new French Extremity film movement, which was a movement that started roughly maybe in the late 90s, early 2000s out of France and Belgium and whatnot. It was a movement that usually combined really, really graphic sexuality and violence and whatnot and taboo subjects, and kind of gave it a little bit of an art house vibe. I mean, what do y'all think? Have y'all ever seen movies like this before?
Well, I think this is kind of really the only one I can think. I mean, it does bring to mind for me Gummo.
Yeah.
With that the art house feel, like you're saying.
And Martyrs is kind of listed along with movies like Gummo and a Serbian film and Human Centipede as far as most disturbing movies and everything. Like, shout out to Tom Six. He follows us, by the way. But here, this movie, to me, when you take it into the context of the new French Extremity, it's not nearly as violent as some of the other movies that are in that category.
Yeah, I know you have more fucked up shit than this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I have more fucked up shit from this particular movement. Like, for instance, Frontiers, which is a movie about a bunch of French Arab Parisians who, I believe they rob a bank or something, and they head out of town. And this is when a right-wing populist movement is gaining traction in just one major parliamentary elections and whatnot. And they try to escape, but they end up running into a place that is run by neo-Nazis. And it's a pretty prescient movie, honestly.
Is it supposed to be some kind of like political scare movie?
It's a little bit of a political scare movie, and it's a kind of ahead of its time as well. It really kind of anticipated the rise of right-wing extremism in Europe and also here in the United States. It was almost like a premonition in a way, you know, especially when you take like Marie Le Pen in France and her movement and everything. It's actually a very interesting movie that mirrors some real-life issues that are happening right now.
Yeah, I could definitely feel, you know, at least as far as Martyrs goes, that there was some kind of motive behind it. I mean, it's not like it was just shock,
but it's
for the sake of shock, you know?
Yeah. I mean, and compared to Frontiers, where, I mean, the violence is a little more visceral in that movie, honestly, but it's a little more stylized as well. Martyrs is also less of a political film compared to that one.
It doesn't feel political, but you can definitely feel like you can definitely tell there is some sort of semblance of like I said, like a motivation behind.
It's more of a philosophical.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm going. That's what I'm thinking.
It's more of a philosophical take on this type of violent content.
Right.
There's an undertone of something.
Yeah, if you drop all your morals, you know, you have to watch this movie and kind of understand it.
Yeah, well, I mean, Frontiers is kind of like that, but I mean, in face of a strict authoritarian power system, more or less.
I mean, this movie kills off kids mercilessly.
I mean, not young kids, but teenage kids nonetheless.
One of them's like a preteen, at least. I mean,
she's at least 14, I would imagine.
You're talking about
14,
Lucy?
15.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the daughter of the
kids,
family that gets annihilated.
The son and the
movie.
daughter.
Oh, yeah.
But another notable new French Extremity movement film is High Tension. Now, we saw a video not too long ago. It kind of spoiled it for you guys. You haven't seen it, but it's one of those movies that...
The professional right here, dude.
Oh, yeah.
This whole scene right here.
Once again, we're watching the movie and we're seeing the family annihilation scene.
Natalie Portman in The Professional, dude. That was great. Look.
It's kind of similar to that, right?
That's what this whole invasion part looks like, right?
Yeah, it actually kind of feels like that whole family annihilation in The Professional. Luc Besson.
Right in the beginning, right?
Yeah, Luc Besson's movie. You know, which, by the way, he made The Fifth Element, just so you know.
Okay.
That was his first movie.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they were kind of looking at us like, what the fuck are they talking
What
about?
are you talking about? Natalie Portman, Professional?
And it was Gary Oldman, right?
Gary Oldman was the cop, and he was like a crooked cop.
Yeah, for sure. But, I mean, High Tension is more like a slasher movie and a home invasion movie at that. That's another movie where, interestingly, another family gets just completely annihilated. Yeah,
I saw the video on that. And then there's this whole twist. I guess we're not going to spoil it on here, but it was spoiled for me anyway, because I'd never seen this before. Honestly, it's a twist that's pretty well known in horror circles by now, I would imagine. I mean, but just for the sake of, you know, continuity and everything, we'll just go ahead and not say it. Yeah, exactly. Other than that, I feel it's a very stupid kind of fucking... Well, I don't know. I feel like that could be meaningful, and that could have some kind of undertone. You just need to see the movie, bro. I guess I need to see it. You need to see it in its context, and it's a very, very violent movie. And it has effects by one of the special effects directors that worked with Lucio Fulci, who did Zombie and House by the Cemetery. And, like, I mean, he's very well known for having really, really awesome graphic movie kills. And the effects work was really a part of that, and he really brought that to that movie, and it is just bloody, gory, gross. It's an interesting story as well. It's very much about love in a way. Love is blind.
Love is blind. Exactly.
So blind.
Ding ding ding.
Yeah, there we go. There's
we need
room.
We got to have a bell for these references.
What do we have for him, John?
Yeah.
Although I do not want to have a bell for the Master of Disguise references.
Well, like a boo.
How about a wah-wah?
You left that in the
wah,
ring.
wah.
You
There you
spent $6, $7 on that thing?
$7 American fucking dollars.
American human dollars.
American human dollars.
Human
Not
dollars.
cryptocurrency, not bitcoins.
Nope.
Fucking American dollars.
Human real life.
On what?
Not
Disguise.
euros,
Disguise.
not pesos, not
Human
anything.
dollars.
Fucking bullshit.
I have pesos. I have like was it 20 pesos?
Pesos are, they're interesting.
Which I don't think equivalates to much American money, but you know.
But yeah, High Tension is a movie that, yeah, like I said, the ending is kind of stupid, but definitely check that one out. It's kind of an important movie as far as the new French Extremity movement is concerned. You know, it really kind of sets the tone for it.
It's important, I think, for people, at least people that consider themselves cinephiles, to see the good and the bad and everything else in between.
Oh, yeah, and New French Extremity definitely has a lot of that. Like, there's a movie called Inside, which once again keeps the theme of home invasions going, but this time it's a pregnant woman alone on Christmas Eve. Her husband was killed in a car accident, and basically this other woman starts trying to get into her house, and basically she wants to take her unborn child, like, straight out of her goddamn fucking belly.
Wow.
Yeah, and it is a batshit insane fucking gore fest of a movie, man. It's a gore fest, like, straight up.
Oh, shit. That sounds fucked up.
It's a short movie, but it's worth seeing because it is just so graphic. There's a moment where you think that the paramedics show up. I'm going to go ahead and spoil it for you guys. Paramedics show up. You think that all is well, and then this chick just basically comes up with a shotgun and just... Like, I think it was either a paramedic or a cop, just blows his head off. And the effect is just priceless.
Taking him out of the womb. I think I've seen a case like that where, you know, this chick was meeting this one other lady online for puppies.
Yeah.
You know,
it actually ended up being a real life case.
Yeah,
but this movie came out before that.
She took the baby out of the womb and raised it as her own. It still had the blood on her. When they caught her.
Yeah, seriously. They caught her with the baby. The baby survived, and so did the woman.
The mother probably died. I don't know. I mean, you killed her, took her out of the womb.
You know what game does that?
Death Stranding.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
What?
That's funny. You said Death Stranding because that's kind of related to PT.
Right.
But no. Wait, I don't know what's in Death Stranding yet, but I know PT does have a fetus.
It does.
Ripped out of a woman.
That's
a murder.
There's also
that's a crazy
fetus
moment.
aspect.
There's a fetus in the sink.
There's the fetus aspect of Death Stranding, which we talked about as well.
Yeah, I guess whatever elements we're going to carry over in Kojima's work on Silent Hills, I guess kind of came into Death Stranding, right?
Right. I think that was what their initial plan was, especially with bringing in Death Stranding as this huge game, because now that he's split from Konami, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That's right. E3 is going on. I forgot about that.
E3 is like the newest thing. It just dropped like a few days ago.
But anywho, yeah, Inside is really, really crazy. You should definitely check that out. And another one of the more notable New French Extremity movies is Irreversible. This is a movie that is actually filmed in reverse.
Really?
The story takes place in reverse.
Oh, that's like the trailer for Dead Island.
Yeah,
Dead Island.
I'm honestly, this is a movie that's honestly, you don't want to spoil it because, I mean, there's two scenes that are really, really intense, especially, I mean, I'll go ahead and say what one of the scenes are. One of the scenes is like an almost 10-minute uninterrupted rape scene. And it is very, very brutal. It's all on film. But
in reverse.
The sequences of events are in reverse.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like the whole movie.
It wasn't. The whole movie is not literally in reverse.
Okay, that's
it's just shown in reverse.
That's what I thought. I thought it was literally in reverse.
So each scene is shown in reverse order.
Yeah.
So they start with the ending scene and they end with the beginning scene. I get
it's actually very innovative.
Does it tell like a new story?
It does. It's basically like a rape revenge story told in reverse.
What's the name of this movie again?
Irreversible.
But are the scenes distinct from one another?
Very distinct.
Okay.
Yeah, especially when you get to the end/beginning of the movie, it's pretty much a happy ending.
Right. That's crazy.
I mean, it's really crazy. And it's directed by Gaspar Noé, who also did Enter the Void. He did Climax, which is a movie that came out recently that's also very crazy and horrific. And he also did a movie called Love. Like he's also very important to the New French Extremity, even though he's a French person that was he was also born in Argentina.
Argentina.
Don't cry for me, Argentina.
Speaking of reverse, I saw this joke once, and it was talking about, have y'all seen that movie 127 Hours with James Franco?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I saw if you watch that movie in reverse, it was just a joke, but it was like if you watch that movie in reverse, it's a heartwarming story about a man finding an amputee finding an arm in the desert.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
But I'm going to bring up one more movie here, and that movie is by a woman named Catherine Breillat, and it's called Anatomy of Hell. And that is it's not a brutally violent movie or anything, but it does kind of touch on some pretty taboo topics, especially at the time. It's basically like this woman goes to a gay club, goes into the bathroom and tries to commit suicide. And this one dude comes in and saves her. And she pretty much challenges, she says that, all men hate women. And she challenges him to spend the night with her. And she's going to prove to him why. And it leads to some very interesting scenes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, one involving a tampon.
Oh God, I don't even want to know about.
No, you do, but you need to see it. It's fucking great.
You have to see it. Do you have it? I'm assuming you have.
And she also made a movie that's on the Criterion Collection called Fat Girl, which is kind of an interesting. It's almost like a coming of age story, but it's pretty graphic with the sexuality, and it ends on a very violent and pessimistic note. But it's another essential movie that you kind of have to see. And, other notable directors, of course, Pascal Laugier, who did Martyrs. Xavier Yens, he did Frontiers. Alexandre Aja, he did High Tension, or Haute Tension, as it's called in France.
Or isn't it called something else in the UK?
Switchblade Romance.
Switchblade Romance.
Yeah. He actually went on to do the Hills Have Eyes remake.
Oh, okay.
He directed that.
It's them.
You positive?
Absolutely.
It's been 15 years.
It's them.
You can tell from a picture in the paper.
I can tell.
You lock someone in a room with no light, soon they begin to suffer. Then you feed that suffering, slowly, methodically, systematically, coldly, for a long time. Martyrs are very rare. A true martyr is a special person. They are exceptional beings. They withstand paralyzing pain, young lady. They can survive total deprivation. They carry all the sins of the world. It's their sacrifice.
And that's actually a movie that's just as disturbing as the original. Like, the original is just as fucked up.
Yeah, it's almost the same thing. I mean,
it practically is. Yeah. And he also did the movie Mirrors, and he did the Piranha remake.
Piranha. Oh man, that was an old 80s film, right?
Yeah. He remade Piranha.
And then Piranha was like in 3D. Remember that?
Piranha 3D. That's the one that he did.
That's the one. Okay.
Yeah.
Get Christopher Lloyd in there, dude.
Sorry, is Laugier known for anything else?
He did a movie called The Tall Man, which is not nearly as notable as Martyrs, but supposedly he's working on something that's kind of along the same lines as this now.
But he hasn't done anything else?
No, he hasn't really done much of anything else, and that's kind of notable for Xavier Yens as well. He hasn't really done a whole lot of movies.
Martyrs is what, 07 or 08?
2008.
2008?
Yeah. And also, I mean, recently there was a movie called Raw that came out, made by a woman named Julie Decarno. That's another interesting movie. I won't get into the plot for time purposes and everything, but definitely check that one out. That's a more recent film, and it's just as extreme and brutal, and also interestingly shot.
Wow.
But this particular movement had an interesting impact on horror. It actually had, along with some of the Japanese movies by people like Takashi Miike and whatnot.
Hey, Miike.
Yeah, it actually had an influence on the torture porn genre filmmaking, like Hostel and Hostel 2 and Saw.
Okay,
it kind of had an influence on that type of movie.
That's the other comparison I would have drawn is Takashi Miike.
Yeah,
with Martyrs in particular.
Yeah, there's some elements that are kind of Miike-esque.
I mean, just the whole aspect of just showing things so realistically,
and also some of the ways that the cinematography is shown is kind of Miike-esque. It almost brings to mind Audition a little bit.
I was kind of thinking with the
or Ichi the Killer, kind of.
That's what I was thinking. Ichi the Killer with some of the more
crazy.
Intense scenes that are just like batshit.
Ichi was
crazy as shit.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah.
I mean, its impact on horror cinema is going to be felt for generations. I mean, without a doubt. There's a lot of movies out that kind of one-up the new French Extremity since then, but, you know, I mean, it's not going anywhere. It definitely influenced some interesting paths in filmmaking.
A Serbian film.
Maybe. A Serbian film is its own thing, and I don't know if we'll ever fucking do it. It's just...
The only other thing I can think of that is more extreme than what we've been shown here, and I haven't seen it yet, is Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah, that's an Italian movie. That's a whole nother branch of filmmaking right there.
Yeah. When was that made?
1976-ish, I would say. 79, maybe?
So that predates this. That's crazy.
There's some crazy shit. I mean...
So is that
it's a very effective and realistic film.
Zombies versus Cannibals 2.
Oh, that's a zombie holocaust. That's Zombie Holocaust.
What's that other one you have? You have Burial Ground.
Burial Grounds.
Dude,
that's a great
another
one.
Italian movie.
We got to show y'all that movie.
That's Italian extremist.
There's just it's just great.
There's some movements that we're going to get into later on and down the line on this podcast. You know, some Argento, some Fulci.
We are going to watch that with you guys.
But with Martyrs, it has a very interesting narrative structure to it. It condenses 3 types of movie genres, pretty much. First of all, it's pretty much a torture and revenge movie at first, because, you know, Lucy, she wants revenge for the mistreatment that she underwent.
Yeah, it's weird how that whole dynamic even switches, because at first, I don't know, you may call Lucy the protagonist, but then later it's Anna. Lucy's almost like a villain protagonist, almost, kind of. Yeah, she does a very horrific thing here, regardless of what happens. I mean, she blows an entire family away. You don't know whether or not to be on her side. The entire time you're watching Lucy commit this mass family murder, you know, you're not even sure if she has the right family, and that's not revealed until later on in the movie.
Well, yeah, in the beginning, you don't even know what's going on. The only scene you've seen so far is this random girl who's been beaten running away from like a warehouse. That's all you see.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you see a nice family, and then they're being murdered.
And you do see flashbacks of her time with the cult and everything.
And that's what that introductory scene is. That's Lucy.
Back. She got away. Yeah, she massacres them.
Yeah, but at first, you're not even certain if it's the right family or if she's just crazy. I remember that was a question I asked myself I was like, well, she's so crazy. Is this even like the right family?
It's like, what's going on here? Yeah.
I think they definitely want you in doubt, because they even try to give you hope with the mom trying to get away.
Well, I would argue that doubt is kind of one of the actual themes of this movie.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Anna is constantly, actually ends up doubting Lucy pretty much throughout the entire ordeal.
Well, and what's the last line spoken in this?
Keep doubting.
Keep doubting.
Exactly.
Nobody's coming for you.
It's like, and the structure of the movie kind of plays into that, because you're constantly doubting what you're seeing on film.
Yeah,
here.
I think it has a distinctive 3-act structure, in fact. I think definitely as far as got the first act coming up until the point that Lucy kills the family.
Yeah.
And then once Lucy's dead is kind of where you go into the third act from the second act.
Well, I would say that there is...
Or when the cult shows up.
The second act is when we start going into the second genre that this movie kind of throws in there, and that's pretty much kind of a supernatural kind of mindfuck movie, like, or it's kind of an implied supernatural element to it.
It is, but I think in the end it's all bullshit.
Well, no, it's actually shown to be a manifestation of Lucy's guilt, but I mean, as far as we know, it's some type of demon that is actually haunting her, or the actual ghost of the girl that she left behind when she escaped.
I'm thinking Ash was thinking more about like the end, with it being
I gotcha.
Right. Well, the way that spiritualization is in the end.
Yeah, you may be tempted to believe there's an implication that the afterlife is real, and that it shows a real afterlife, but I think it's still bullshit. I think this is all
we're gonna get to the ending of the movie here pretty soon. But I mean, as far as the middle part of this movie, it's kind of like a supernatural movie, or it's implied that way. You know, I mean, you are kind of led to believe that maybe the ghost of this girl is kind of goading her into doing this. I mean, that's something that you would probably see in more Japanese movies.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's the monster girl, and you are tempted to believe that it's actually supernatural. I remember asking myself that question as soon as the monster showed up. Okay, is this supernatural, or is this a manifestation of something?
Is she doing it to herself?
Yeah, exactly.
And well, you start to believe that it's real, that monster, you know, especially with Anna coming down trying to burst down the door.
With Momo coming out.
But they never do violate that perspective.
They never do.
And
right?
I paid attention
right now,
to that.
Dude. Oh my god, there's Momo.
There's Momo.
Oh my god. Shit. Yeah, she does kind of bring up that image, right?
I mean,
yeah, no kidding. But it goes in from supernatural territory, which has its own kind of mind screw elements to it, especially when you actually see what this supposed ghost girl is. Then once the cult comes in, it becomes an entirely different movie. It pretty much becomes torture porn by that point, but it's not like the kind of torture porn that we're accustomed to with Saw or with Hostel or anything like that.
Right.
It's more of just a realistic kind of
it's like
torture
filleting
porn.
your victim.
Yeah.
In Hostel, really.
Well, basically, I mean, essentially her torture is that she's just pretty much beaten halfway to death most of the time. And that is really the most basic way that you can break somebody down. First is breaking them down physically by...
mentally, too. And then
first you break them down physically, and then you break them down mentally.
And they will break down mentally because they lose their sense of individuality and determination. And not only that, but they literally physically get weaker.
Yeah,
and it's easier to give in. It's honestly so surreal just to watch in action. Her in such a short span of time, you see Anna become broken. Obviously, there's some sort of time lapse.
It's like a Kohan Luke. You just break your spirit down, you know, dude.
Yeah, pretty much. It kind of has that element to it.
And then they cut her hair off, which is another level. I mean, that's her losing, you know, the only thing that she has, which is her self-image, you know?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
You know, and feeding her so little that eventually, you know, her body is just going to wear thin because there's no exercise and no... Yeah. The diet is kept probably just minimal enough to survive.
She's literally fed gruel.
Spoon-fed gruel. Anna and Lucy both.
Forcibly.
They show that. And if they don't take it, they grab them by what little hair they have and spoon it.
Yeah, they shove it down her throat pretty much.
They were holding her by the nose and then just till we couldn't breathe and open the mouth.
Yeah. This is also, this scene right here, this is one of the flashback scenes that we're watching. It's pretty much one of the first moments where you kind of get a glimpse of that maybe the woman who is the mom in this family might actually be the torturer.
Right, but they also don't confirm it either. They deliberately don't confirm that.
They do keep it in the dark. They imply it as much, but they keep it in the dark.
Because there's so many times when you question that. You're like, well, is it a different person?
Well,
yeah.
I thought they were implying that it was Mademoiselle because she was limping later on.
Yeah. I never got the implication that it was Mademoiselle.
No?
No.
Maybe that was just me. But at first I did think it was the mom because they both have blonde hair. And Mademoiselle actually has dark hair, so I guess it's definitely not her. I guess I was just tripping.
No.
Holy shit.
Yeah, this is the girl that supposedly is manifesting as Lucy's guilt. Because she had to just bail on her real quick. I mean... It's an act that you don't really blame Lucy for. I mean, what could she do?
You have to escape with your own life.
She was already.
She barely got out with her own life. So
yeah, seriously, barely.
How is she going to get her loose? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was pretty much circumstantial that she got loose herself. I mean,
that's an element of survivor's guilt.
Yeah.
Which is really important. We just talked about that in our episode on The Last of Us.
Yes, we did.
That movie also deals with survivor's guilt.
That game.
That game, I should say.
Dude,
but that game basically is a movie.
That's what we keep
That's
talking
how
about
good
with
it
the
is.
game. That was one of the biggest points our biggest topics in the podcast is that it's like a movie.
That's on Collateral
yeah.
Gaming, by the way, if
Right.
anyone's listening. Dakota and I run the Collateral Gaming video game podcast.
So you got to keep up.
Yeah, got to keep up. Watch the gaming and watch the movies.
And you understand all of our references.
Yeah.
Now, how do you guys think this movie flows through these different genres throughout its 3-act structure? How well do you think they transition between them? How well do you think they condense it?
Well, I think with the constant doubting of the viewer when watching the movie, you don't really question. And so that transition is very seamless because you yourself don't feel a need to even question the fact that happens.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, especially with the mindfuck element that becomes, I think, the sandwich that holds this movie together.
Oh, very much so. I mean, this is very much a mind-screwy type of movie.
Yeah.
I mean, without a doubt. Kind of like the aforementioned High Tension.
Yeah. I can see that with what I know about High Tension anyway.
Yeah, it's pretty much just as bloody, if just a little more stylized film. But I mean, the violence in this movie is a lot rawer and a lot more realistic and everything.
Yeah. It always has that sense. It doesn't feel like it's done for shock value. It feels like it's just there.
Hey everybody, we're going to take a break real quick, and I just wanted to remind you to download the Podcoin app. You can find it on Apple Podcasts and Google Play, and you can earn Podcoins by listening to your favorite podcasts, like, for instance, Collateral Cinema or Collateral Gaming. And you can use those Podcoins to either purchase gift cards from places like Amazon or Starbucks, or you can use it to donate to your favorite charities and make the world a better place. So download the app off of, once again, Apple Podcasts and Google Play, and be sure to check out Collateral Cinema on Podcoin. And with that, back to the show. The characters themselves are very interesting. Pretty much the main characters we'll just go ahead and lump the family in as pretty much a character unto themselves. The family that's annihilated.
The whole
Right.
Partridge family.
You get a backstory too. They kind of talk about themselves a little bit, so you kind of get a feel of what their family is like.
Yeah. I mean, and I kind of lump them together as their own character because, I mean, it's just easier to talk about them, more or less, because they're pretty much just cannon fodder by that point.
Oh, yeah.
They just exist just for Lucy to come in and just blast them away.
Yep.
I mean, it's your regular fucking white family in America, right? At
In
least
France,
on the surface.
In France.
Like,
it
Remember,
is
it's
France.
French.
That's true.
In Europe.
Or
Oh,
Canada.
I thought it was French Canadian. Could be like Canada.
But in the end, let's not forget that Lucy was right about the family. They were the torturers.
They
So-
were, or at least the parents were. We don't know exactly how innocent or guilty the children are.
Who knows?
He definitely seems to be shocked when she asks, "Do you know what your parents did?"
Yeah.
But then shoots him anyway.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood doesn't ask questions.
Seriously, I mean, it's fucking relentless. It's brutal.
She is, and that's why you, as the viewer, aren't sure whether or not to question her actions because
Yeah.
you really don't even know if she's appropriating justice.
Yeah. I mean, it's deliberately left up in the air for the first act of this movie.
Yeah, for a while until you find out that right at the beginning of the third act that it really is all.
But as far as Lucy is concerned, the tone for her character is pretty much set within those opening moments right away. I mean, she is a victim. She is traumatized, but unfortunately, she uses violence as a way to kind of, equalize that. But it doesn't end up doing that. She doesn't gain catharsis from it. She doesn't feel any actual justice there. She's broken.
Yeah, we still see the guilt, the imagery of the guilt.
Yeah.
Manifestation of guilt.
Exactly.
The guilt keeps
Kinda like-
coming back and keeps tormenting her even after she
Like
is.
Ichi the Killer.
Yeah, even after she has brutally slain this family. I mean, this being is still coming to her. I mean, at first we think that it's supernatural and that it really is the ghost of the girl that she ran out on.
Right.
Well,
But
I don't know.
It's got to be bipolar.
I kind of knew the whole time, but maybe
Yeah.
that's just me.
Bipolar schizophrenic with meth. That's what I'm thinking.
That was my
Something
first
like
question.
that.
Was like, is this in her mind or is this real?
Yeah. I don't know if you, the viewer, are intended to question that or not.
yeah,
I guess just our feel on movies.
It's kind of obscured at first, but
Right.
then whenever Lucy actually kills herself, that's when you actually see what that manifestation is. That's when you
Well,
actually see it.
Or when the flashback of Lucy, when she sees the woman too, I mean, that kind of confirmed it. And she sees the woman that she leaves behind. But I believe that the manifestation of guilt remaining even after she kills the family, I mean, obviously that's very deliberate.
Yeah.
And you know, there's some lines earlier on before the reveal that indicate that, because, you know, I was paying attention to this in particular because she says things like, outwards to the manifestation after she kills each family member, I killed them. You know, it's okay now. It's like, and so now hearing those lines earlier and then connecting that later on with the reveal that the manifestation of guilt is inspired by the woman that she left
Yeah.
behind.
Well, I mean, as
makes a lot more sense.
As far as Lucy is concerned, what she's doing is right. I mean,
Right.
she in the end, she was right. Although I don't think that her actions were right in and of themselves.
Yeah, they are right.
And she's
Oh,
not
they're-
the only one to
Nicolas
suffer.
Cage would have done that in Angry Driver.
Oh yeah.
Drive Angry.
Oh yeah. Or in Mandy.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what he did
That's
in Mandy.
what Nicolas Cage would have done. Nicolas Cage
Yeah.
didn't give a shit.
Oh my God.
But she's not the only one to suffer hallucinations, right? Because we
Yeah.
also see the other survivor that Anna brings out, who later it's revealed she constantly felt cockroaches on her skin, which is an explanation for her strange behavior.
Yeah.
And those hallucinations are not shown to us. It's explained after the fact, but then you can connect it. You know, that's an effect of constant torture and being broken down are these hallucinations that are manifestations of some dark part of the victim's personality.
Exactly. I mean, it's mainly her trauma and her guilt that
Trauma.
are manifesting.
That's the word I'm looking
trauma
for.
is a major thematic element in this movie as well.
Yeah.
And this kind of predates a lot of the current movies in horror that kind of use that as a backbone for their narrative. I mean, this kind of predates that a little bit.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Trapping a person inside their own mind
Yeah,
until
exactly.
they become batshit crazy. That's why
Yeah.
she can't see. You see that?
Yeah.
But then with
Yeah,
Anna,
that's it.
though, she, I guess, transcends all of them. We don't see any of that hallucination element, at least not outwardly. We're not shown it. Maybe is what makes her different.
As far as Anna is concerned, I mean, for one, she's very much an accessory to Lucy's crime, completely. I mean, she doesn't condone it. She's not like all in on it or anything. In fact, she's very, very shocked that Lucy did this. But
I was never sure if she condoned the actions at first.
yeah,
You know, and then finally, I guess it's shown that, you know, she loves Lucy unconditionally. She's taking care of her.
Yeah.
And even after she's committed these atrocious acts, she still is trying to help. And I wasn't sure if she would or not.
well, I mean, the way that Anna actually approaches the situation is very telling. She really just kind of deals with the situation the best she can. She doesn't freak out. She doesn't freak out on Lucy about it. She's just handling it.
Yeah, and then you later see that caretaking nature again when she takes care of the other survivor, the girl that she found in the basement.
Yeah.
The one that sees the cockroaches. And that's interesting because that shows you more about Anna's personality, is that she does that. She's a caretaker.
Yeah, very much so.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's also what makes her different. It makes her supposedly the one that can transcend.
But doesn't that also make her an enabler a little bit?
It does.
I mean,
But
in
at the
many
same
ways.
time, what else are you going to do? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? How are you going to handle these people? Obviously, her actions, they don't ultimately have a positive outcome. Although in the end, maybe they do.
I'm not sure there's anything like positivity coming out of the situation in this
the cult
movie.
leader
but
kills herself. That
Yeah.
may be the end of the cult.
it might be.
So maybe, just maybe, all of this is for something.
Yeah, it could just be a setback for the cult.
Or it could
know.
be. I mean, it could all be for nothing because that pervades throughout the film. I think you mentioned it when we were watching it, and they throw all the corpses in the grave. You know,
Yeah.
It's like it was all for nothing.
Yeah, no, all of it was for nothing. Yeah,
an-
that
just an
entire
And then Anna's
family.
taken
It
captive.
was just an experiment, wasn't it?
Yeah, that entire family, Lucy, the girl in the basement, all of that, just
After-
meaningless. Just
Afterlife experiment. Right?
Yeah.
I guess.
All that torment, all that sadness, and all that fucking pain for nothing. And that's very much what happens when the cult comes in. It's the violence in those scenes are very passionless. They're not meant to have a cathartic effect in any way. They're just meant to present that violence just plainly.
You're seeing a lot of passion
to show,
Christ.
Sorry. No, yeah.
And that's something that Pascal Laugier, that's something that he really wanted with this movie. He wanted it to kind of be divisive. So, that's why he followed the structure that he did. That's why he threw in the narrative conventions that he did. And that's why he directed the actors like he did.
I think you're very much right about the whole the fake family idea. You know?
It's very deliberate.
Look at the house. The house is so plain.
It's
plain
fake.
Jane. It's fake.
A fake house.
A fake.
Yeah.
It's like you can tell it's prop.
Yeah, very exactly.
The walls are plain. When you get down into the basement area, the walls are just plain steel walls down there.
It's all very sanitized and very sterile.
Right.
It almost feels like a lab.
Fake fucking grapefruit.
It's like Nuketown, you know?
Exactly.
It's like
it's pretty much one ginormous laboratory. That's what it is.
Fake fucking grapefruit.
You know
the interview.
Did you?
There you go.
Have you noticed
Robert
that
got my reference.
They really could have taken a sexual aspect with this movie, and they didn't take that. Did you notice that? They never took that road.
That's very, very deliberate as well.
You see, naked, you see tits for a second, but it's not like it's almost not appealing to the eye.
Oh no, it's fan service all the way. It's not meant to be sexualized in any way because there's no sexualization to these women.
No.
Right, exactly. If anything, it's desexualization. You know what I mean?
Anna and Lucy, they actually share a kiss together,
Christ.
but it's not a kiss done out of sexual desire or anything. It's more just out of the situation at hand. It's an emotional kind of outburst. It's a way to cope.
There's no sexual tension. It does cause you to wonder, okay, is this why Lucy's doing it? Is she in love with her?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, that probably is just an emotional response. It means nothing, maybe. It's really not plainly demonstrated.
Jesus Christ.
It's not illustrated for the viewer. It's kind of up to interpretation. A lot of this movie is.
Oh, certainly.
They just present the visual, and you're left to pick up the pieces and figure out what's going on and make your own interpretation of this. But the interpretation at the same time is clear, I think.
It does, at least up to the point of the ending. It's clear. That's what I would say. The ending is, once again, a lot of deliberation here. It's left very vague.
Yeah.
But the violence in this movie is meant to not be very glamorized. It's not like Hostel or Saw, where it's meant to kind of be like, oh yeah, gorehound shit.
That's what I noticed. It's not shock value. It's like, this is just realistic depiction.
I would argue that High Tension has more of a shock value to it than Inside, as we said before. Though the gore effects in those are total gorehound movies.
Yeah.
Like very much so. But this movie, it's meant to just show realism.
Right.
In its violence. It's bloody, but not in a way that it's cartoonish or anything. And the actual subject matter, it's dark, but not to a point like a Serbian film where it's just so graphic it just becomes a joke in its own right.
Yeah, exactly.
It just becomes one long, dead baby joke.
Well, right. You see a skinless human at one point. You know what I mean?
God.
Yeah, and
it's
she's
just muscle.
She's fully alive. She's transcended. She's already seen what she's seen.
Anna is flayed alive at the end, yeah.
Very much, yeah. She's flayed alive. It's in a very, once again, passionless and scientific manner. It's very, surgical.
Even when they beat her, you can tell there's no anger involved. It's surgical, like you said.
Yeah.
The beating of it,
Yeah,
of her too, during her
clinical.
torture.
It's very clinical.
Clinical, yeah.
And that's because this is coming from an organization that's more scientific in its goals and in its means.
Some kind of science cult. It's weird,
it's
right?
It's pseudo-scientific, though.
But yeah, it's because it's all a bunch of old white people.
Yeah, but they're trying to make an epistemological fucking discovery, more or less.
I think it definitely has some religious undertones there.
Yeah,
this whole cult, and so.
But even then, those religious elements are very muted because they what do they want? They want to see the afterlife.
They want And yet, even that's in and of itself is a fallacy. I mean, we watched a video kind of explaining that.
Yeah.
And so, like, because knowledge of an afterlife isn't going to help them. Knowledge of the existence of an afterlife isn't going to help them in any way to getting into that afterlife. No matter what the outcome is, your actions won't affect that, because either A, you've done too much fucked up shit and you're not going to be granted entry. B, everybody is granted entry, and so it doesn't matter. Your actions will have no effect on it. Or C, there is no afterlife. And that's what I think. That's my interpretation, at least. But I mean,
there is no afterlife. Yeah, I mean, I take the atheist stance on it as well, more or less. But as far as this movie is concerned, I have another theory which we will get into here in a little bit.
Yeah,
but
we're just we're just an afterthought, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's all anybody is.
I want to believe in the science route for this reason, and the reason is that everything else in this movie is debunked. Every other supernatural element, and so I think the ending is no different. But I guess we'll talk about more of that in a second.
Yeah. I really like the realism throughout this movie. I mean, it's almost kind of there's this other film movement called mumblecore that came out in the last 5 or 6 years, or maybe longer, and I mean, it kind of has that quality, you know, like the actual acting and the dialogue. It has kind of a natural feel to it more than anything.
Yeah.
Like, none of it feels forced. It feels it just flows. And I think that's really key to how impactful this movie is, along with the violence and everything, is that, I mean, none of it is sugar-coated, but, you know, none of it's stylized either, you know?
I agree.
I mean, especially when you're getting to Anna's beating and eventual flaying. I mean, everything is just done in a way where you're not going to get anything really emotional. It's more of an intellectual takeaway that you get from that, from how the violence is presented, you know?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Les gens n'envisagent plus de souffrir, mademoiselle. Le monde est ainsi fait qu'il n'y a plus que des victimes. Les martyrs sont très rares. Un martyr, ça, c'est autre chose. Un martyr est un être exceptionnel, mademoiselle. Il survit à la souffrance, il survit à la privation de tout. On charge des maux de la terre et il s'abandonne. Il se transcende. Vous comprenez ce mot? Il se transfigure. Province de Longsheng, 1912. Cette femme ne croit pas en Dieu. Elle a essayé de voler une poule et elle le paie très cher. Au moment où la photo est prise, elle est encore vivante. Regardez ses yeux. Jouan du Sac, 1945. Cette femme est épicière. Elle a couché avec un boche à l'époque. Le français est susceptible et il faut qu'elle paie. Elle est vivante. Regardez ses yeux. Hôpital général de Birmingham, 1960. Cette ménagère, athée, sans histoire, est en phase terminale de cancer. La morphine n'a plus d'effet sur elle. Regardez ses yeux. Celle-ci a été battue par son mari. Crise de jalousie, une démence imprévisible. Celle-là vient de passer 9 heures dans la carcasse de sa voiture. Cette jeune leucémique vit ses derniers instants. Le mal rend. Celle-là, atteinte de maladies rares, n'est plus que sur 9 heures d'agonie avant que les pompiers ne la libèrent. Regardez ses yeux. Toutes, mademoiselle, vous m'entendez? Elles étaient toutes vivantes quand la photo a été prise. Et allez me dire après ça que le concept du martyr est une invention des religieux. On a tout essayé, même les enfants. Il se trouve que les femmes sont plus sensibles à la transfiguration. Les femmes jeunes. C'est comme ça, mademoiselle.
I mean, especially in the way that the cinematography is used to kind of give the blood a muted quality to it. Like Robert, it doesn't have like the really, really bright kind of Evil Dead blood, right?
Oh, the light blood, where it's almost like going back to the 80s, right, where it's lighter.
Yeah.
And like thinner almost.
Yeah.
This is more of a very visceral looking blood.
That's the word I'd use.
Yeah. As far as the blood mixture that they used, it's more visceral.
Probably
looking.
a darker corn syrup and not lighter. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's pretty close to reality.
Yeah. It's not like it's not like Ichi the Killer where the blood is very red and very, you know,
intentionally
comic book like.
Yeah.
Yeah, or manga like.
This movie has a completely different feel to that, just the gore.
Right, and they intentionally went for realism. I mean, that's what we talked about, right? So I would assume they would choose a blood that looks legit, you know?
And also the way that the cinematography is shown, it also kind of, in a way, most all of it is done in daylight.
Can't you use animal blood too? Isn't
you can, but it's not really. It's not really.
Yeah, I know. I can't ask you, the vegan, that question,
but also from a sense of like pathogens and everything,
right?
I guess it just depends. You know, it's better to just use synthetic fake blood,
right?
Make your own.
You would say that, Bo.
Just make your own stuff.
But would say that
whatever. Green up on the vegan.
I mean, I'm kind of against animal cruelty too, so
that's another conversation for another time.
That cut off.
That's beyond the scope of this episode. Come on now. But I mean, I know that you guys haven't really seen a whole lot of extreme cinema, but I mean, in my opinion, this really stands up to like the cream of the crop when it comes to disturbing films. You know, your Solos, your Serbian films, Human Centipede, Necromantic and shit like that.
God, yeah.
I mean, I know that you guys probably haven't seen only a few of those. I mean, I know you heard a Serbian film.
I've heard a Serbian film. Aren't we doing Necromantic next season?
Yeah, we should be doing Necromantic.
Or did that end up being nixed for something else?
I don't remember, honestly.
That's in third season, I'm thinking.
I think it was proposed, but we nixed it.
I know what we're doing. We're doing Visitor Q in its place.
Oh, okay.
That's right. I remember.
Are we doing Intruder? Because we switched that out.
We switched that out with something. I don't know what we should. I don't know what we're going to do.
Revisit the schedule.
We're going to revisit our schedule for season 3. Definitely.
Dang, Intruders.
But yeah, as far as extreme cinema is concerned, this is definitely one of the more important films from that particular field of cinema, which is pretty broad, honestly. There's a lot of movies that could fall under the realm of extreme cinema from all around the world. New French Extremity really kind of upped the ante for that. But yeah, it's definitely a great film when it comes to those types of movies. So, now, guys, what are your actual theories about the themes or the symbolism or, what actually goes on in this movie? What are y'all's theories? Like, what do you think Anna said to Mademoiselle?
Honestly, I think it was just bullshit. I think it didn't matter what she said. What she said was probably delusional, but whatever she said indicated to Mademoiselle, I think that there is
Does she blow her head
no
off
afterlife.
That's what's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, her blowing her head off, I mean, in the end, it can be explained
what did she say
a few different ways. Like, I mean, obviously, we know that one way or the other, it doesn't matter. I mean, shout out to Renegade Cut for that video, by the way.
That was Renegade Cut.
Yeah, that was definitely a really, really different way to look at this movie.
But I think ultimately the no afterlife option that Renegade Cut presents, I think the way I see this movie seems to be best implied because to me that makes the most sense why she'd just kill herself. But I don't know if I'm looking at this from a scientific perspective, I don't know what Anna would have said that triggered that. Maybe it was just luck, you know what I mean? Maybe she was just delusional.
Yeah.
Or maybe she had maintained some of her individuality and said something intentionally to Mademoiselle to go fuck yourself.
That's my theory. My theory is that she said, I saw something, I'm not telling you what it is. Which, once again, pretty much makes Mademoiselle's life work meaningless.
That's good because that gives an empowerment to the character, if that's true.
It does. Especially that she was able to transcend and still regain her own consciousness.
I want to say that I want to hope that she is able to compartmentalize.
Yeah.
And that, you know what I think she didn't actually see the afterlife either, but because there is none, but she said that on purpose, to Mademoiselle to force her to, she said what she knew would make her kill herself. I don't know.
How about you, Dakota? What do you think?
I don't know. This was really trippy. It was trippy, but I think I agree with Ash here with the idea of the no afterlife. I can't see why they would hint that there being one in this movie. I think they were trying to push away from the whole spiritualization idea.
Oh yeah, I mean, once again, it's a very clinical take on the issue,
right?
It's not done from a religious perspective,
right? They're say screw morals. Clearly, I mean, they'll do anything in this movie.
Yeah, and remember, I mean, they specifically choose young women because apparently they're the ones that are most susceptible to martyrdom.
Right.
Because, I mean, this is all part of a process that the cult goes through with these women.
And they call them martyrs. That's the title.
Once again, that's another subversion of religious imagery right there, because martyrdom is typically seen as a religious sort of, or even a political sort of action.
That's directly mentioned, too. She says martyrdom doesn't belong to the religious or something along those lines.
No, it doesn't belong to the religious.
You die for the rest of us, you know. Or at the end, they define it as witness, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's in credits.
That's the literal meaning of the original word.
Right.
Martyr is witness. I mean, that's exactly what it is. It's not coming from the actual religious definition of martyrdom. It's coming from that literal definition.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, there might be some religious undertones to the suffering that she goes through, but I find it a little far-fetched to really try to apply any type of theory like she's meant to represent Jesus Christ or anything, that she's a Christ figure. Yeah. Because, I mean, obviously she's not.
It's not like she died for anyone else, or her actions even have any consequence.
No, her suffering is meaningless.
Just
one way
possibly,
or the other.
Depending on what happens with the cult.
Experimental.
Dying.
Mostly.
Yeah, definitely experimental. There you go.
How about you, Robert? What are your thoughts on it? What are your theories here?
My theories on this? Jeez, man.
What do you think she told Mademoiselle?
To make her blow her head off? I really have no idea, man.
Go blow her head off. That's what she said. She told her to go do it, and she did.
Yeah, I mean,
honestly,
right when she was filleted, what did she see in her eyes? Probably like a star pattern from Men in Black, right?
Oh yeah, Men in Black. Yes.
Well, supposedly when it comes to near-death experiences, it's not uncommon to see kind of a light first. I mean,
that's like the daylights, or
it's part of the process of death. Essentially,
I think your mind creates that. I think your mind.
I believe
potentially could create whatever afterlife,
some sort of daylight.
I think there's
they mentioned that in the It movie, right?
I think there's actual scientific evidence that might be the case. That there's just a certain hormone that's released upon death that triggers activity at the subconscious levels of your brain.
Well, that's DMT.
Yeah, DMT. Exactly. It's DMT. That's what that is. That's pretty much what it triggers.
But I think your mind can create its own reality, because reality. What is reality if it's not perception, right? Perception shapes reality because, think about it, if a tree falls in a forest and no one's around to hear it, does it create sound? If there exists any reality outside of our perceptions, what does it mean? Is there a reality? Does that have any meaning?
But of course, I mean, the clinical approach that Martyrs takes to this is, who cares if it's like there's scientific principles that dictate that sound propagates one way or the other. It's like we just want to find a different way to hear it.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of what they would go for.
Right, and I would say that each person's individual perception would create its own reality, and upon death, I think that's kind possible.
Of lucid dreamage, sort of
something like that.
Right.
Yeah,
and if the timelessness is just an effect of traveling at the speed of light, aka special theory of relativity, then timelessness maybe could be achieved by the mind. I don't know. It's tangible. It's a thing that could happen.
It is. But I mean, ultimately, it's like the Renegade Cut video said. The actual ethics and the metaphysics behind the cult's actions, they're fallacious to begin with. I mean, nothing here really would pan out to anything for this cult. I mean, one way or the other.
I believe that.
And that's why, honestly, I accept Anna telling Mademoiselle to fuck off as an option, because, I mean, that's it's meaningless anyways.
And it's hard to know exactly what this cult is after, but I definitely think pseudoscience is at the bottom of it. I think this is the same kind of nonsense that propagates in anti-vaccine communities and flat earth conspiracies and moon landing hoax conspiracies.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's just these same fucking old white people that...
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it always goes back to old white people.
Sorry,
right?
Not to offend all the old white people out there.
Yeah,
but,
seriously.
I mean, come on.
We like our listeners that are old white people.
We do. We love you all the same.
If there are,
because we're a bunch of white guys, except for Robert.
Yeah. Nope, not Robert.
What do you identify as, Robert?
I don't know.
He doesn't know.
Wow.
It just
Does it matter?
Somewhere between Stamos and Richard Grieco.
There it
This
is.
motherfucker.
I think my mom had an affair with both of them at the same time. I don't know.
Wow. Seriously, like just a straight threesome?
Probably. You know.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know. The
Did
details.
your mom get around like that?
I don't know.
Celebrity circles?
I don't know the details, bro. So
Jesus Christ.
you would have to ask Richard Grieco and Stamos.
Wow, these are serious allegations coming from Collateral Cinema. Wow.
This is coming out of my mouth. Don't listen to anybody else. So.
Yeah. No, of course we're bullshitting. Whatever. We all know.
Well, this movie, once again, we'll find a justification with the movie's narrative to justify our bullshit like we do every episode.
Oh, of
but,
course.
But
Of course.
I want to say that this movie, you know, it itself creates tangents.
It does. It almost is a tangent in many ways. It's tangential how the movie flows.
Exactly.
But still seamless.
Seamless but tangent. Because, well, a tangent is literally a line that just touches a circle at exactly one point, right?
Yeah.
Mathematically speaking.
Yeah, exactly.
So obviously there's still that point that connects things. So like I said, it's literally tangential. It's seamless by that one point.
Exactly. And a lot of that you can give credit to Pascal Laugier for. I mean, his direction in this movie is just so stunning. Although I think that he used the fade in, fade out effect a little too much in the editing process, maybe a little bit. But it doesn't really detract from the overall structure or the story or the message that the movie is trying to convey.
I kept in the tale. You know, my mind stayed there, and I wasn't ever detracted by anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's a movie that doesn't have a whole lot of filler to it.
No, everything is meaningful. It's like I said, there's all these little details that, you know, like you said, it's not crucial to plot information, but you have to watch this movie and watch every second of it. You can't pay attention to anything else for a second because
You'll miss
everything is a
something.
part of it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you have to pretty much hang off of every word, every scene, every frame in
It's
this
the
movie.
context.
Yeah. Because, you have to get that context in order to understand how everything flows.
Yeah.
Right. Well, like we were mentioning earlier with the manifestation, it was only in, Lucy's mind.
Yeah.
And none of the other people actually ever saw it. And the filmmakers did a good job of showing that.
Ouvre! C'est fermé, Lucie!
Yeah. I mean, it's only the audience and Lucy that sees this creature.
Right.
Or this girl or whatever.
And yet, if you haven't discovered that for yourself already, Anna, it's not deliberately shown that Anna doesn't see the creature either. It's just cut in such a way that, you know what I mean? But there are some clues to it, I think, definitely throughout the story. But
yeah,
I don't know. I think it's deliberately shown so where that can be a reveal for you at a later point.
Yeah, and in the end, it doesn't really take anything away from the actual ending of the movie either.
No,
it just shows that Anna's, or should I say, Lucy's suffering was ultimately meaningless. in so many ways.
Isn't that just a metaphor for life, really? I mean,
yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Everything is meaningless, but at the same time meaningful because everything is a consequence of something else.
Yeah.
You know, I guess butterfly effect, you could say. And in this movie demonstrates
Ashton Kutcher.
literally a Ashton Kutcher. But the movie Butterfly Effect.
You've been punked, y'all.
You've been punked.
We've been punked, guys. Ashton.
But again, is there a butterfly effect? Do our actions really echo that much? You know, this kind of movie leaves you thinking, wondering.
Yeah.
Everything is a sequence of events. We'll put it that way. But does it have any overall meaning?
Neither does the Wonder Years. Neither does Boy Meets World. You just always wonder, you know?
God damn it. God damn it, Robert.
Just the same look on Ash's face all the time. Every time he takes a photo. It's like, what is he wondering?
Oh my goodness.
Are you saying that about me?
I think so, dude.
Okay, motherfucker. Have you seen your Facebook stories? You make the exact same pose in every picture.
Every single picture.
You go like this. He goes, I can't show you guys, but he tilts his head and he sticks his neck out.
It's like there's another.
Have you seen your Instagram? Look at every one of them.
Oh my goodness.
I don't even know selfies anymore.
Down the list.
There's a reason why I don't post selfies on my shit. There's just a reason.
This is my face. Do you realize I have to take off my glasses to make that good ass?
Yeah,
face?
but
hey, you know
do
what?
You really understand that there's a reason why I have the most followers?
Do you know the difference between Blue Steel and Magnum? I bet you don't.
Ooh.
I'll tell you what. Do you post your shots specifically for artful purposes?
No, they're basically. Yeah, no, you're right.
Right, there's an art to it, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's photography.
Robert's just like I just want to feel pretty. That's all I want to do. I just have to feel pretty.
The views.
Yes, I don't know. I'm
I'm
not a judge of male prettiness.
So it's basically a
I don't
headshot.
know.
If you want to get it out of the way, yeah, it's a fucking headshot. Okay.
You know what, Bo?
Sorry.
The views of my Instagram are more than the views on Collateral Cinema.
Oh, is that so?
Okay, well, everybody.
How about you bring some of that mojo onto Collateral Cinema?
Right,
Yeah, maybe you should post about us once in a while.
Or maybe you should run the Instagram.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
I'm not that good at
We're just gonna
Instagram, I
split
have
off,
one.
do our own thing. Dakota and I. Sorry.
This motherfuckers.
Yeah, I'm taking this solo act.
I act like I have like 1,000 followers. I don't even have 1,000 followers yet. I just have a decent amount.
It's okay.
Collateral's-
I'm pretty sure we can buy followers and shit.
There you
like
go.
that, yeah.
Oh my God.
Just gotta advertise.
Well,
bro.
Instagram's just a popularity contest.
There
It's
you
kind
go.
of
For the most
kind
part.
of pointless.
All Dakota needs to do is smile and he'll get like 1,000 likes.
There you go.
It doesn't even matter how good you look. People will just like pictures based on if they like that person. He literally told me he likes pictures without even reading the captions.
Yeah.
What's the point? He just likes pictures that
You see
people
a
he
person
likes.
posting a picture on Instagram, it says, "Oh, I'm bored." You get like a fucking 1,000 likes.
And then I post something that I put like my time
What
and effort
the
into.
fuck? Yeah, exactly.
Nobody likes it.
What the hell
Yeah,
is that?
right.
shit?
People just don't want to think when they're on social media.
And you're
Or-
contributing
That's
to the
really what it
problem,
is.
Dakota.
Or you'll see somebody post pictures all day long, and you're like, "Okay, do they work?
Yeah, that's
do they
a
have
problem.
do they have
That's a
job?
problem.
Do they work and have a job? Like, where are you at all the time? Like,
All I do is just sit on Instagram and like pictures. I haven't posted in like at least like 6-8 months.
He doesn't even like things he likes. He just likes things because it's people.
Man, this is like total first world problems here. Right?
Right.
Seriously.
There we go.
That's funny.
Jesus Christ, people. All right, anyway, let's talk about the scenes from this movie that you guys think is the most disturbing to you. We'll go ahead and start with Ash. What do you think is a scene that sticks out to you as just really fucked up here?
Most disturbing.
Honestly, I think the end scene sticks most in my mind, being
Yeah.
flayed alive. I don't know. I guess that was the most extreme thing that happened. As an honorary mention, I would also say the family shooting. I mean, just indiscriminate. Doesn't matter if the children knew or not. Doesn't matter if it was the real family or not. They just
Just that beginning moment of a home invasion.
Yeah.
Pretty much what sold it to me in the beginning. Yeah.
And I mean, the only agenda is the slaughter of the family there.
Right.
Like that's all she's there for. She's not there to steal anything. She's not there for sexual gratification. She's there to kill and kill alone.
Yeah. So definitely those two scenes actually stick out in my mind the most.
Well, I'd have to say it had to be just the children dying. Honestly, I'd agree with you there. That was my original thought, and you started to say it. But yeah, the children dying. That's something that like I don't know. You don't even see in like other movies. Not very many movies do that. They don't kill children,
massacred,
and so I'm not used to seeing that on screen. So seeing that on screen, it's just like it's crazy, you know.
Yeah,
you should have been here for our Halloween episode.
Oh yeah.
Oh, seriously.
Our season premiere.
Yeah. Yeah, that movie gets into almost like a home invasion vibe sometimes.
Yeah, and they do kill a child, I remember.
Yeah, they do. They totally kill a child.
It's just like no fucks given.
Which we didn't see before the first one.
Yeah.
Or any other one.
Remember that movie? They had Tommy Doyle and all them and everybody.
Yeah.
How about you, Robert? What is a disturbing scene from this movie that stands out the most to you?
Most disturbing. Right here. Look at this.
Oh, you're
probably in the beginning, the opening scene where she's running down the street because she's being held captive.
Yeah,
and you're like, what's going on?
That just perfectly sets the tone for the entire movie.
That just buckles you down right into your seat. And it's like, okay, let's get ready for some shit here.
It's just like, oh yeah, this girl just went through some shit here. Mm-hmm. It's like, let's see what happens.
But you brought up originally because we're literally about to watch the flaying scene, and you just brought that up. You said this scene right here, which was one of my picks, right? And I mean, this scene in and of itself, I think it's disturbing, particularly because she willingly lets them do this to her. She's so broken that she just accepts all of it.
Yeah.
And that's shown in the scene directly before this. You know, at this time, she doesn't fight back when the man beats her. She eats the gruel without hesitation, and then she literally lets them lift her into this machine.
She's a shell. She's a shell of a person. She can't
exactly.
Do
she's totally a shell of a person. There's nothing left there by that point.
And that makes it even more disturbing. That, you know, not only just the shock value of, okay, she gets flayed alive, but she allowed herself to be, and puts up. I mean, she's still crying. I mean, after all the pain that she's been through, and now she's tolerant against, this makes her cry out in pain.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So I mean, that just goes to show you. So that's why.
It's like a final cry. You know what I mean? Because this is the last time that she's actually fully. After this, there's no going back.
Yeah, there's pretty much ripping off the vestiges of her humanity.
Right.
Like, tearing it off of her.
I'd want somebody to kill me by now, or just kill myself.
Well, remember, she's in a state of euphoria. She's just like transcendent. She's already transcended.
Well, and then she's
oh god,
conscious long enough to whisper in Mademoiselle's ear, and then after that she goes catatonic.
Yeah.
Is that Ryan Reynolds?
And like I said,
did look like Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
I was thinking the same thing.
It makes me wonder in that scene in Deadpool if maybe there was some influence from Martyrs on that. Because I mean, it does feel like almost a parody of Martyrs in a way.
Oh yeah,
like especially the scientific scenes and everything. Like there's kind of a Pascal Laugier look to it.
I see it. I see what you mean.
These sick fucks.
Yeah,
the
seriously.
heat lamps, dude. It's like. That's what we put the chicken out underneath.
Yeah,
you guys.
Insult to injury. They put heat lamps on her. Goddamn.
Throw out that jerky.
Now, my scene from this movie that I think is most disturbing is something a little more subtle. It's during the family massacre scene. It's after Lucy pretty much killed everybody else but the son, and she confronts him and she says, "Do you know what your parents did?" And then he just shakes his head. And just that moment where she's just like, fuck. Like, and then there's just that scene where the son kind of has a moment of resignation on his face.
Right.
Total resignation.
That's what I was thinking.
Then she just blasts him. Just
mercilessly.
Not even thinking twice about it. He's pretty much the last person that she shoots in that entire sequence.
She shoots the daughter.
Oh, is the daughter the last one?
Yeah.
Daughter is the last one.
yeah, the daughter is the last one. But
yeah.
I mean, he's the one that to me has the most emotional impact.
Right. Yeah, the only one that gives emotional impact.
Yeah.
The other three were merciless. I mean, she chases the daughter out from underneath the bed and kills her.
And that's because she's already hit past the turning point with the son.
Right.
So at this point, she can confront the daughter mercilessly. But during the son, she has to overcome that hurdle, you know?
Yeah.
Can I kill someone who's innocent?
And once she already did, then there's no going back, so might as well continue.
Might as well, yeah.
Exactly.
At that point, she's resolved to continue.
That's the point where you solidify, how far she's willing to go.
So that's completely. Why that scene has kind of that emotional impact.
Yeah, that's the scene that disturbs me more than anything. I could watch a person get flayed alive on screen all day and
this
beat
episode,
and shit, but that
shit.
moment right there, that emotional element to it, that's what disturbs me.
Yeah,
You know,
he
when it
knows
gets-
he's gonna die.
And then it's undercut by the overall meaninglessness of all of it. You know,
Wow, yeah,
it's undercut by all of that.
that's insane, bro.
Yeah, it's just more impactful when you think about it.
C'est qui cet emmerdeur?
Parle mieux, Marie Belfond.
C'est dimanche quand même.
Et alors? Tu te reposes de quoi le dimanche? Hein? Ta semaine à l'usine?
Bouge pas. Assieds-toi. T'as quel âge? Tu sais ce qu'ils ont fait tes parents? Hein?
But anyway, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. We pretty much gave our final thoughts on this movie, pretty much by going through our favorite scenes. But, I mean, just overall, collectively, guys, what do y'all think?
That shit fucking crazy, bro. What the hell?
I know. And it's like I told these guys right here, would you believe that I have crazier shit than this?
I know you have crazier stuff.
Oh, I have way crazier shit. You guys don't even know.
Tap into it.
I want to show you guys Necromantic so badly.
Well, I think this movie, it really makes you have to think like a killer. You know, you think.
Very much so.
You think like the killer. You
But
think.
also, you kind of have to think like the cult. You
Right,
have to be
just like the
clinical.
cult.
Like a surgeon, like
Yeah,
a butcher.
exactly.
Like,
Remember, one of the themes of this movie is doubt. You're constantly doubting what you're seeing.
Right. You almost like. There's no main character to this because
Yeah.
it just changes so often, kind of what's going on. It's kind of like just there's a running story and you're following along through it.
Yeah.
You know, you're just following along the storyline of that house and what's going down that few days, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And you first you're in the mind of Lucy and you're like, oh shit, I got to kill this 18-year-old kid and this little girl.
Yeah.
And then later you're Anna, who's a victim, and then later you're wondering what is at the afterlife. You know, what is Mademoiselle thinking?
Yeah, it's amazing how it goes from point A to point B like that throughout this
Snap.
movie.
Right.
like a Halo ring, Halo 6 going through her eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Not to mention the family scene. You're in a scene with the family in the beginning.
Exactly. Yeah, you get a little backstory. You see their dynamic. You see how happy they are. It's like, oh, it's a nice, happy, fun French family. And then
So it seems.
I can't believe she just didn't. They haven't died just off of infection. You know, like
some of the
survivors.
Well,
in this,
you did notice that they had rags, they
See
had
how
sponges.
yeah,
And they would
they
give them
would
baths a
sponge,
little
yeah,
bit.
that's right. They would sponge bathe her.
all those cuts. You can cut one deep enough to freaking die, dude.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Shit.
I guess they were careful, but they knew, so skilled surgeons clearly they were
Yeah,
able to
no, you're
fillet
right.
this person alive and be fine.
Exactly.
Torturing them basically with a scalpel.
Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up. You can find Collateral Cinema on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify. You can find us wherever else you get your podcasts. Check us out on Chill Lover Radio. Download the app on Apple iTunes Podcast Store, whatever the fuck it's called now.
Just Apple Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts, or whatever the App Store is. It's the App Store. And you can also find them on Google Play as well. And also, y'all guys have a video or an episode coming out on Last of Us or something like that? Or did that already come out?
I released it this last Monday.
All right, what's coming up for Collateral Gaming?
Well, our season finale is coming up, actually. So Last of Us is out now. You can go check that out. That's another very realistic, very visceral movie. I mean, game. Sorry, I keep calling it a movie.
I know. I do the same thing.
I've noticed that. It's kind of funny.
It really is like a movie, man.
It's really a very cinematic game. It definitely is.
But next time, we're doing Spider-Man. It's the PS4 Spider-Man game that just came out last year. Honestly, another just monumental game. It deserved Game of the Year.
And just in time for Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah,
that should be right around that time. That'll be perfect.
It actually will be.
And we'll go ahead and we'll make that kind of our tribute to Stan Lee. I think, of course.
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of wait on that because I knew that was coming up. So, yeah, it's an awesome year for superheroes. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you that much.
It has been
for sure.
It has been definitely. Yeah, and in-game was fucking tight.
In-game was tight. Spider-Man Far From Home looks lit. And we'll release our review on, or analysis, I should say, on Spider-Man, or Marvel Spider-Man.
Did you say lit?
I said lit.
Totally lit, bro.
Oh my god.
And you can find Collateral Gaming on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and on Chill Lover Radio as well.
Yep, both of our podcasts on Podcoin.
And yeah, we're both on Podcoin. I believe that there's an ad in the mid-roll, so we'll just go ahead and let that kind of... But yeah, use Collateral to get 300 Podcoins. Or for your podcast, what's the code word?
Collateral Pod.
Collateral Pod.
Capital C, capital P, all one word.
Yeah, for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, listeners, check out our Patreon and our Podbean patron page. We would love to start getting a little bit of income coming in for this show. We're about to wrap things up for season 2.
We're pushing our 3rd season already.
Yeah, we're pushing our 3rd season.
I say we stuck in there already.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're stuck in on this podcast, and go ahead and give us a little bit of money, and we'll start giving y'all a little something in return.
Honestly, we are incredibly grateful for the response, for all the retweets,
for all the downloads,
for the community, and especially all the downloads, all of our listeners. Yep. And the only reason we even want more money is to run this podcast, to produce more content. Like, this is our dream, and we'd love to do this full time, and then be able to just, give more to the podcast community.
More projects.
Yeah, more projects, maybe more YouTube programming.
Because that's what this is about. It's kind of a revolution, and I want to be a part of it. And we all do. I think we all want to get our names out there, like everybody else.
Definitely.
So
we're already doing a pretty good job at it so far. So
I hope so. Yeah, I hope you guys really enjoy our content.
Well, the next movie that's coming up after this is another movie that Robert brought to the podcast. What is it?
Fire in the Sky.
Fire in the Sky. And then after that will be our season finale, which was pre-recorded. All I have to do is edit it and everything. So, yeah. And that's going to be on The Princess Bride.
The Princess Bride.
Great movie, and it was a good episode as well.
Yeah, I may or may not be here for the Fire in the Sky episode, but we did pre-record Princess Bride, and I'm leading on that one.
Yeah.
So, also forewarning, depending on whenever my baby comes, Collateral Gaming may have to hold off on releasing our season finale, but I think we're going to try to release it on schedule, because I may be able to get away with one night.
Right on.
To do that, to go ahead and record, because I think the schedule's important. But anyway, we're bullshitting.
For sure. And also, look for a new indie movie review. We're going to be doing a movie called Chasing Molly.
We were reached out by actually a actor.
And the director of the movie as well. Yeah, she directed it as well.
Nice.
And yeah, we're going to be checking that one out. It's called Chasing Molly. That'll be an interesting movie with Kurt Angle and Felicia Day.
Oh, yeah.
That is we're probably going to try to get that out before our season finale sometime. And also...
maybe that Child's Play episode is coming out.
Yeah, we may do a little strip down.
We might have to sneak that one in there.
Yeah, we might do a little strip down at the theater episode.
At the movies edition.
It's
for Child's Play.
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah. But anyway, with all of that said, I'm Bo Maddox.
I'm Robert Ortegon.
I'm Ashley Chancellor, and you're watching Disney Channel.
I'm Dakota Chancellor.
And Collateral Cinema is out, everybody.
Oh.
And watch Martyrs and love this movie.
Watch it with your 5-year-old kids.
Hey, oh, yes.
Who's your daddy?
Yep.
Collateral Cinema is an L Company production. All music and movie clips are owned by the respective creators and are used for educational purposes only. Please don't sue us. We're poor.